Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining today's digital boardroom discussion. My name is Ankita Satam, and I'm your host for today. Dun& Bradstreet, in association with SAP, are glad to present this digital boardroom discussion with the topic Exploring New Paradigms and Priorities in Corporate Banking. Please note, everyone views in the forum will be considered or presented as their personal views as professional are not linked to present any organization. Now, let's take a quick look at the flow of today's session. Please refer to the agenda displayed on your screen right now. A promising agenda with an eminent lineup of speakers. I would like to take this opportunity to welcome and thank everyone for being part of this virtual session today. Now, let's kick start with our fireside session. I would now like to invite Ms. Monu Jain, Country Head, Corporate Banking and SME Banking, IndusInd Bank Limited. Thank you, Ms. Monu, for joining us today. This session will be moderated by Mr. Joy Uka, Global IBU Solution Manager, FSI, Finance and Risk, SAP, India, to set the context for today's discussion and let the ball rolling. Welcome, Mr. Joy. Over to you, sir.
It's a pleasure to talk to Monu Jain. I will start with a basic, a discussion in terms of what defines a day for you in a corporate banking today. I mean, just to
Hi, Joy. Yeah. Hi, Joy. Very contemporary and probably very interesting given that we are in the middle of our second wave of COVID. And we are a little bit experienced from our first wave about a year back, actually exactly about a year back. And a day has become, in the professional life, there is a lot of nervousness back again on the impact of COVID on corporates. Like last quarter was, this quarter last year had a negative 24% GDP. Most corporates were suffering from the lockdown, activities were down. And today when we enter, I mean, of course, going to office is also now very restrictive, but a day starts with how are my clients doing? What do they need? What can I offer? And we are back to the days of trying to help them by way of, digital services, where paper is very difficult to come by now because of the lack of people infrastructure in offices. There is a heightened interaction with clients to make sure that their credit is stacking up, payments will be made on time, and there is a lot of interest on what is the government trying to do around this time. So yes, back to a lot of stuff that we did last year. And however, the difference this time is that there is a lot of hope and positivity because of the way it had rebounded. The economy rebounded in October, November, and the last quarter of the last year was so good. So there is that hope that it will all come back.
That's very encouraging, Monu. And as we know, right, I mean, the corporate banking in India is one of the fastest growing segment in the banking sector. And also it is observed that, corporate banking, while addressing some of the niche customers, in terms of adoption of digitization is still in a bit of a nascent stage in terms of the way you offer your products in a digital form compared to the developed economies, right? But that is changing. I mean, we're seeing that in the pandemic, and as you rightly said, the significance of paper and the paper movement and accepting the documents at the branch is kind of reducing. And then the whole idea of the corporates really expecting the same kind of service that we currently have for retail banking, and the focus on corporate banking opportunities is really coming up, right? So we see quite a few themes, and I think let's talk about these themes and how this is evolving. Let's take a study from McKinsey recently, a recent study that predicted that corporate banking in India would undergo an unprecedented business model transformation, particularly around the way you offer your products, but the way you basically engage with your customers and the way you complete the fast track the offering to them, the finance offerings. So, what in your mind, Monu, if I may, is the key transformation that the segment is going through, and is there a much of a role for that technology is playing in this time?
So, Joy, as you said, corporate banking is a large segment of overall banking. Today, corporate banking advances will be about maybe more than 60 lakh crores, and it is 55 to 60% of a bank's revenues come from corporate banking. Now, it's surprising that despite this large significance of corporate banking, it hasn't undergone too much change. It is the typical dinosaur which is change resistant. However, in the last couple of years, there has been, an explosion of interlinked external variables, which have forced about a transformation in the corporate banking models. A lot of it is impacted by COVID, but some which had started even before COVID, right? So the corporate banking revenues are shrinking with lower interest rates. There is higher risk cost, there are higher capital costs because of regulations, there's higher need for investment in technology. So, okay, let's take revenues for example. Credit growth has slowed down post-COVID to about 5.4%. Now, this used to be a double digits about 2 years back, right? And interest rates are at a historical low because of the significant liquidity which has been injected worldwide to combat COVID. Now, with these, how do global banks survive? So banks, interest income typically used to be 50 to 75% of corporate revenues, but now corporate banks are moving towards shifting their business models to focus on fee-based alternate revenue streams, right? So there is an increased focus on advisory, on transactional services like trade and FX, which churn your limits much faster, there's greater velocity. And hence this kind of is a significant shift in the banking models. Second thing, again, driven by the low cost of funds, is that to be able to still make money, there is an increased pressure to lower the cost of funds, right? With the lower interest rates, to maintain a margin, you need to reduce your cost of funds. And hence, most corporate banks have now come up with a huge focus on liabilities, which means that corporate bankers, which in the good old days or the whole historical days used to not be bothered about liabilities, considered the domain of retail bankers. Now every bank expects its corporate client to generate liabilities to fund its share of assets, so as to put typically. So this is again a huge shift that you see on the corporate banking model. Then what has happened post IL&FS is that the traditionally larger corporate clients saw a wave of frauds and defaults, and we are all aware of what happened in that September 2000 and post September 2018, that their NBFCs took a big hit. Now, as a result of this, there is higher risk costs that were witnessed in the last couple of years in corporate banking. And another significant shift that has happened in corporate banking is that the gold standard around larger corporates, around the size, has been away, the shine has gone, and now models are shifting towards lower turnover corporate clients. And that gives diversity, granularity, there is lower risk associated, and the returns are higher. So the risk return ratio is much better. So typically SMEs have become a favored segment. In fact, in the last year, 10-11 months of last year, SME segment has shown a 23% growth. So they're also the much faster growing segment, and corporates have languished at about stagnation of, on credit growth. So banks are now not only aligning a segment focus on SME with specialized teams and the specialized offerings, but also they are trying to create a SME focused ecosystem to finance. Because naturally with an SME, you have a higher risk, but in the value chain of an SME, let's say in a supply chain, you have a auto company, which has a tier 1 vendor, tier 2 vendor, tier 3. At the tier 3 level, if you want to give, you create a whole ecosystem so that the risk ultimately resides on the anchor. And this is the ecosystem offering, which is also evolving in the corporate banking models. And, one more thing that COVID has taught us, that industries have behaved very differently. So there are industries in the post-COVID era, pharma, IT peripherals, agri and essential commodities. We have, some specialty chemicals. These industries have really boomed. They have done better than what they could have done in the last 2-3 years. On the other hand, hotels, tourism, restaurants, travel, all that has been very badly impacted. So corporate banks are also evolving to differentiate the risk and the offering as per the industry type. And this is again a significant shift that I see in corporate banking models. So, these are the 3-4 larger changes which have come about, but last and not the least, and I would say probably the most important and most relevant, is our digital transformation, which has been much required in the post-COVID era, because everybody now there is the need to work from home, there is remote access required for everything. We're also used to dealing with digitized services in our personal lives. But corporate banks have been a little slow in adopting to that. And having said that, there are still some changes that have been made. Typically what has come about are the KYC and onboarding processes. Now, banks have taken a significant leap in digitizing something which could sound very basic to you, is just KYC, account opening, onboarding of a client. But this onboarding process, as per some survey, 84% of the banks believe that it impacts the life value chain of a client. And that's very true, very true.
Very true.
So what is now happening is that till now, and I must tell you that this is very recent, it may sound archaic, but clients can now upload documents for KYC. Banks have connected their systems to bureau systems to verify the documents. Video confirmations, affirmations are being accepted. Digital signatures are being accepted. And banks are now offering, let's say, on the spot account opening and onboarding. Some more work needs to go on the documentation side, but this is somewhere significant steps have been made. Now, banks have also started offering app-based services where for various transactions of a client. These are more trade, FX, account view, transfers. They are more dominant, right? But trade still suffers from a lot of paper flow, manual processes. Till these things are sorted, let me just put it this way, that steps have been made. There has been a shift in corporate banking in understanding the need for moving towards digital, but the systems are still not up to the mark and sophistication needs to be achieved. There is an automation of back-end processes. That's something which is ongoing and has happened. Data analytics, especially in risk, is something that I think in corporate banking has come about quite significantly to predict the probability of defaults, etc. Yes, there are many small things, and I can see you're driving, but I do want to mention one more significant shift that has happened is around a move towards digital ecosystems, right?
Yeah.
While banks have been slow in changing their own core banking systems because of the costs involved and the complexities, they're increasingly partnering with back-end and front-end partners to provide digital solutions and improve operational efficiencies both, right? So banks are also forging with fintechs to ride on the technological capabilities instead of competing, to cooperate with them and create ecosystems so that banks can focus on their own core competencies. So this is all going to, in my view, come up in a big way with the cost of integration coming down, as I understand, with the APIs and internet and digital connectivity. But this is an area which has started and needs to further develop significantly for banks to be able to quickly digitize at lower costs. We don't need to reinvent. So to just take a bigger picture, digitization is very critical for corporate banking. It provides or ticks all the boxes. It reduces costs, improves client experience because of reduced tax, operational efficiencies are kicked in, risk management is better managed. So while corporate banks are still trying to move in that direction. I think the digital transformation will be much faster in the next year, given the environment we are now living in.
Perfect. I mean, you covered a gamut of topics and gamut of areas which really are changing or already in the path of improving. Let's take a couple of them. Maybe we talked about focus on liquidity on the liability side.
Right.
So, what is it that we really we are doing on the liability side in terms of helping the banks with their cash pooling, cash collections, managing the liquidity perspective, in a way. And then you also spoke about the fee-based services. So how do you tie this in, and how does technology help there?
So, okay, let me take the cash-based cash management first. Now, cash management is a very core part of corporates' requirements. They do not want to keep their cash idle. They want to be able to predict the requirements more efficiently, use it to reduce their overall costs. So it is also one of the areas where digital has picked up in corporate banks. So banks are now offering a host of services to the corporate clients which help them manage their liquidity and cash management, working capital cycles. So banks can offer systems. So bank system can integrate with corporate systems. Now you have all your various APIs and others. And with that, clients can now banks can offer collections through your NEFTs, RTGS, POS. Banks offer payments, local transfers, overseas transfers. There is tax payments. You can manage your salary and payrolls. Also very important for corporates is banks provide the whole reconciliation and management information system for corporates to look at the payables and receivables. So all this has helped corporates reduce their cost of funds and make this more efficient. With APIs, banks are also now able to offer real-time view of cash flows. So all this is available on a self-service digital model on a corporate's mobile device for them to use at their back-end code. So it is an area where I feel that a significant progress has been made and multiple hosted products have come about in the area. So on the fee-based move to fee is pretty linked to this. So what do corporates look for? They look for ease of they look for lower costs, convenience of transaction, and error-free transaction transparency, probably tax. With the ability to offer app-based services on trade transactions, FX transactions, CMS requirements, the velocity of these transactions have increased a lot. The time taken has reduced. They're becoming so the ability to generate more fee has become higher with higher churn. And also on the advisory side, when we talk about fee, it's also very important how a relationship manager advises the client. So greater empowerment to the relationship manager with, let's say, foreign currency markets movements using digital tools helps him advise the client, and it improves the competitiveness of the bank vis-a-vis other banks to capture this fee wallet.
Fantastic. So just to dwell a bit deeper into what you just spoke about, helping the customer and directly connecting with them through APIs. Now, this is actually something which is proven technology. It is there, it exists today. But in a way, we are still seeing it is not really getting adopted or rolled out in that speed that it should have been useful to the banks or to your corporate customers. It is currently limited to payments, collections, maybe it doesn't go beyond that. So what do you think is holding this back? I mean, where is the impediment? What is holding this back? I mean, do you think anything is expected from the corporate side, or is it something that banks need to come together with your ecosystem?
So, there has been actually, I think it's a very good question on why are corporate banks not keeping pace with the rest of the industries and retail banks in offering these services to their clients when the clients want it. And I think we just need to step back and see what is the essence of corporate bank and what are the needs of corporates. it's a very complex requirement that corporates have compared to individuals with multiple geographies, sometimes multiple accounts, or multiple currencies. And there is no one fit all solution which can be digitized, or let's say there is no canned solution that can be put through, at least not as of now. Maybe as AI develops and advances, things will move forward. And also, the credit decisioning process on the corporate banking side has again been very complex because of each case being very different, and hence that has also not been digitized. Now, because of all of this, it's a very relationship-led model where the relationship manager talks to the client, understands, and finds a solution for them. So that's the part about conceptualizing the solution. And what you're talking about is what about executing the solution? The actual transactions of what has been finally decided. But what happens is that on the transactional side, one significant risk that corporates and corporate banks face is the risk of fraud. The transaction sizes are much larger than individuals. The complexity is much more. And hence, if something goes wrong, the end-to-end connectivity with the other banks is not that open banking is not fully there. So if anything goes wrong, the costs are very high. So you will come across many clients which for larger transactions still want to play safe and not take those calls in terms of authorizations. What if there is some authorization goes wrong? While banks are coming up with multi-factor authorizations to try and catch those risks. But this is one of the biggest risks which sees discomfort from the corporate users and from banks. The other thing is that the legal documentation system in the banking world and in Indian corporate world hasn't really changed much to paperless. If there is any enforceability, it still needs to be on a physical document with wet ink. And till those systems evolve, a digital system for some of these cross-border transactions still will be always followed up with paper, and hence not fully paperless, digitized, automated. Some work is going on, like I said, in nascent stage. Digital signatures are getting accepted and becoming the norm in KYC. But these things will change only with time, just as e-commerce picked up once few users realized credit cards will not, the credit cards will not be misused. And then companies take care if there is a misuse. And so the system is building up, but a little slow. The other thing is that, actually it's very interesting. Corporate banking is a very high, it's a business where there are high switching costs. Because at the time of onboarding, there is so much deep engagement with the client in terms of understanding the client, their requirements. It's a time-consuming process compared to a retail counterparts, that once a client is onboarded, they think twice about moving to another bank. And because of this, there is I feel, a sense of complacency which set into banks in pushing themselves to evolve and change. And are you there?
That's a very honest. Yeah, you hear me?
Yeah. Okay, you're back. Okay. So yeah, so I do feel that it is something which is the nature of businesses, and now with fintechs coming in and banks seeing that real pressure of they are no longer the only gateway to corporate clients, and they are seeing that parts of their businesses niches are being taken away, and we are seeing that rapid lunge towards trying to digitize.
That's a very honest admission about complacency setting in because of the switching cost. But I think maybe that is also changing, right? I mean, at this point in time, banks are all vying for the same corporate base and wanting to entice them and create that stickiness in terms of the ability to engage with them on a more evolved capacity. So, I mean, what is more important, as you rightly said, is that you need to build the relationships, you need to build the context with your customer more and more. move away from this complacency as such. We see that, you talked about data as well, and the way data is helping you understand your customer better, understand the risk better, understand how you can actually build on the businesses of the corporate and align your offerings to them. So, okay, do you want to elaborate on that? How are you using data today for your corporate customers and building that competitiveness?
It's very nice to now see that data is getting increased attention in corporate banking, and it's being tackled in varied approaches. The challenge with using data in corporate banking, and again I'm comparing with consumer banking, is that the volumes of data are very large. It sits in various silos in the bank, and it's important to integrate the data together so that it talks to each other and can be analyzed effectively. But it's a very, very important tool, and increasingly being used for, very broadly, if I were to put it, you can be using it to identify clients. Corporate banks are using it to identify opportunities for those clients, for effective risk management, and for reducing costs. So, one of the things that is being worked upon very actively and achieving reasonable success is how to empower the relationship manager. Like I said, corporate banking models are relationship-led. Some of that will change. One doesn't know in the future whether a relationship manager can be done away with totally, given the large sizes, the customized solutions. However, digital is, very nicely integrating with the relationship model by empowering the RM with knowledge on the client, on the industry, on the markets, to give effective solutions to the client. For example, an RM, if he knows how the currency movements are, he knows what's the client's exposure to currencies, what are their buying patterns, he can advise the client effectively, and it is a great step up on competition. Similarly, solutions can be tailored for geographies. Different geographies have different requirements, different segments, different industries. So it provides a very targeted and effective advisory from the RM side. RMs can also use some of this information for, tracking of client default. Let me not say default, but the client's risk. So if they are using the data to see where is, how was the client's payables, receivables, how has it been in the past. If they're empowered with all this, they can get the early warning triggers and work on that. Now, banks are also using various databases. You have prime databases, you have rating agencies, there are these bureaus which can be pulled together, and it can be fed through some AI decision engines to find a match of what are the bank strategies, bank's offerings versus what are the client's needs, right? This creates a target set for the RM teams to go out and market to. So this is like a focused targeting that data is being effectively used and can be, of course, taken to the next level. As we spoke earlier, risk management is one area where it's been already extensively used. So portfolio stress testing, portfolio analysis, predicting the probability of defaults, all of these are now possible with data. And banks are partnering with ecosystem players like consulting firms, etc., who have all these risk assessment tools. And they are providing digital solutions and operational efficiencies and risk management actionables to banks basis this. Especially in the SME space, Joy, if you see, there is a lot more data, and these consulting firms are able to give even more advanced AI-enabled risk predictions using predictive data analysis on those sides. So that, and yes, banks can use their own internal data, which is now being done, like I said, empowering the RM. And these tools can help track, let's say, a daily debit and credit in a bank's, in a corporate client, right? So basis that the RM is able to track the credit cash flows, credit worthiness of a client or the civil databases give you the outstanding of all banks loans. So the RMs are collating that to see, is it in sync with the client's requirements? A lot of real-time databases are now helping clients. What we need is the ability to have good decision-making AI engines and distill this data for further use. Right now, that is still happening through an RM's mind. Data analytics also, yeah, one more point is around operational efficiency, because internal data MISs are now being used not just for revenue strategies. Revenue strategies, it's become very common to see how your business has moved in the past in terms of the top line, the bottom line, the cost, everything, and how to take it forward, but also operational efficiencies on what are the bottlenecks, where is the productivity lagging behind, what needs to be fixed. So I see data as everybody says, data is the gold, and it is something that is going to be the foundation on which the digital transformation will move.
Fantastic. So you again spoke about, I'll just dwell into that, empowering the relationship manager, because of course corporate banking works on relationship. But
Right.
more and more in the past, we have seen that the relationship managers work on transactions, and are possibly, because of the lack of insights or understanding of the data that is there or the transactions that have happened, are more reactive than proactive. So if you are able to empower them and enable them, maybe that's where possibly you can address what your customer really expects from you and improve the customer experience itself, right? So you're really looking at then engaging as a relationship manager, being a business partner to your corporate customer, more than just a reactive agent who says, okay, I need to provide you some statements or some documents I need to collect from you. So I agree with you, but if you want to go into more of what does the customer really expect in terms of experience, if at all, right? I mean, transactions are understood, business is understood. How do you see your customer approaching you from experience standpoint, and then how do you empower your relationship managers to achieve that?
One thing that post-COVID era, and we spoke about that, has taught all customers is just like they can order their food on demand or manage their finances. They're wanting more and more digital capabilities from the banks for transactions. But to step back and see on a holistic level, client experience is clearly based on 3-4 things. They want transparency. They want ease of transaction. They want a solution-oriented approach, capabilities, right? And they want to be, tax of a faster turnaround, right? So from a bank's perspective, I really feel that as a bank digitizes, they are also converging to the same objectives as a client's customer experience, because if you are digitizing and reducing costs, you're cutting processes, you're reducing tax, and that works in the client's favor, right? We are providing apps to the clients to deal with their requirements. It's giving them the empowerment to see how the transactions are happening and to take them forward at their own beck and call. Clients want transparency. In fact, right now, a loan decisioning process is probably one of the biggest black holes that most corporate clients kind of are unhappy about. And in the ideal world, I do see that becoming more digitized and transparent. Clients will be able to upload, even corporate clients, upload their loan applications and documents digitally. They will be able to track the flow of where their application is internally and get to know the decisions. And in the ideal world, when I see that there is a mix of market knowledge, which is your industry, where the product offerings, commodity pricing, all coming together with various AI engines to give a recommendation to the credit officer to enable a faster processing at their end. So this is, I think, systems are working towards, there is a realization in corporate banks that clients are looking for seamless services. And if nothing else, the RMs to be empowered till there is end-to-end digitization.
Fantastic. I wish we could continue. I know this has been very enlightening for me and very, very interesting and a good crash course in what is evolving in corporate banking today and what we can look up to. I really wish we could continue this discussion more. But
So
at this
I
point
want
in
to
time,
interrupt here, Joy. I just want to
sure.
interrupt. There's something very interesting that is happening, and I missed mentioning it on the digitization. So
Sure.
corporate clients, give me a minute. Corporate clients can now even discount their invoices online digitally on platforms and exchanges like Threads and M1. In fact, to me, this is the best we have gone so far in enabling smaller clients to raise funding. So what happens is that it is absolutely paperless. It is the settlements are done digitally. So the corporate will put their invoice on the platform, and some of the invoices are either scanned or digital Excels. The banks bid for the rate. Automatically, the bank with the lower rate gets that, and the money is settled through the exchange. The banks have an account with the exchange. The money, banks setting the bank exchange account, money goes to the client, and the client repays on due date. And in setting up those limits also on the anchor, banks don't ask for any paper from the client. This is the future of digital financing. So in supply chain financing, it is gaining strides year on year. We are seeing it gaining momentum. So
This is significant.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. I'm sorry I butted in, but I wanted to share with you in the change resistant corporate bank, some things have happened well.
This is significant because I understand the volumes could be huge here, and if this is already accepted in India with the kind of regulations and compliance that we need to go through, if this is already accepted in India, then this is already a significant change. It's a learning for me as well. Yeah, I mean, we look forward to seeing such and many more such innovations in the banking sector in India, and really, enjoyed the thinking and the passion that you guys, from the way you're looking at technology, it's really, really encouraging. So, from our part, we would really also like to play the role with you, and that's what we, would help us, evolve and build this sector together. So, yeah, really enjoyed this talk. Thank you.